What if the reason you can't relax has nothing to do with being busy? What if the real problem is that your brain has forgotten how to feel safe? You finally sit down after a long day, no work, no notifications, nothing urgent, and yet somehow your mind is still running. You open your phone, you pace around the room, you suddenly remember 5 embarrassing things you said 3 years ago. You feel guilty for resting. You think about your future, your failures. You think about becoming better. And even when your body stops moving, your nervous system doesn't. A lot of people think relaxation is automatic, that if life becomes calm enough, the mind will calm down too. But for millions of people, that never happens. Because once the brain adapts to stress long enough, stress stops feeling abnormal. It starts feeling familiar, and peace starts feeling uncomfortable. Today we're going to talk about why your brain never lets you relax. Not motivationally or spiritually, but psychologically, neurologically, behaviorally. And by the end of this video, you'll probably understand yourself in a way you haven't before. Because this isn't laziness. This isn't weakness. There are actual systems inside your brain that can trap you in a constant state of mental tension. And most people don't even realize it's happening. One of the most important concepts to understand here comes from neuroscience and trauma research. Your brain is not designed to make you happy. It's designed to keep you alive. That means your nervous system is constantly scanning for potential danger. This process is called neuroception, a term developed by neuroscientist Stephen Porges through polyvagal theory. And the terrifying part is this. Your brain does not need a real danger to activate stress. It only needs a perceived one. An unanswered text, a difficult childhood, financial pressure, social comparison, fear of failure, fear of wasting your life, fear of becoming irrelevant. Modern life has created an environment where the brain almost never fully powers down, especially for people who are ambitious, anxious, self-aware, or highly sensitive. Your body might be sitting in a safe apartment, but your nervous system still feels like something bad is about to happen. And over time, this changes you. You stop experiencing stress as a temporary state. It becomes your baseline. That's why some people literally do not know how to rest anymore, because stress became their normal operating system. And once that happens, relaxation starts feeling wrong. You've probably experienced this before without realizing it. Maybe you finally get a free day, no responsibilities, no deadlines. And instead of feeling peaceful, you feel anxious, restless, almost guilty. You tell yourself, I should be doing something. That sentence alone explains so much about modern psychology. Researchers studying chronic stress have found that prolonged activation of the stress response changes activity in areas like the amygdala, prefrontal cortex, and hippocampus. The amygdala becomes more sensitive, meaning your brain becomes better at detecting threat. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for rational thinking and emotional regulation, becomes less effective under chronic stress. And the hippocampus, which helps regulate memory and emotion, can actually shrink under prolonged stress exposure, according to research from scientists like Robert Sapolsky. In other words, stress changes the architecture of your brain. And if stress becomes constant enough, your mind begins to expect chaos, which means silence starts feeling unnatural. That's why some people sabotage calm situations. They start unnecessary conflict, overwork themselves, check their phone every 30 seconds, obsess over self-improvement, overthink relationships, create imaginary problems, not because they enjoy suffering, but because their nervous system became addicted to stimulation. And yes, stress can absolutely become addictive. Not emotionally, chemically. When your body experiences stress, It releases cortisol and adrenaline. These chemicals increase alertness and energy, and over time, your brain adapts to operating at that intensity. So when things become quiet, you don't feel peaceful. You feel understimulated. This is one reason why many people unconsciously create stress when life becomes stable. The brain confuses familiarity with safety, even if the familiar thing is hurting you. This is why people return to toxic relationships, why some people feel uncomfortable in healthy environments, why stillness can feel unbearable. Your nervous system would sometimes rather choose familiar pain than unfamiliar peace. And social media has made this dramatically worse, because now your brain almost never experiences true mental silence. Think about the average person's day. Wake up, phone, notifications, music, videos, work, scrolling, texts, emails, more scrolling. Your attention is being pulled in hundreds of directions constantly. And according to researchers like Gloria Mark, who studies attention and digital behavior, modern humans are switching tasks and attention faster than ever before. Every notification creates a tiny interruption in cognitive focus. Every scroll gives the brain novelty, and novelty activates dopamine. Now, dopamine is misunderstood a lot online. Dopamine is not simply the pleasure chemical. It's more connected to motivation, pursuit, anticipation, and reward prediction, which means modern apps are essentially training your brain to constantly seek the next piece of stimulation, next video, next message, next refresh, next thought. And eventually, your mind loses tolerance for stillness. This is one reason people can't even watch a movie anymore without checking their phone, or sit in silence, or go for a walk without consuming content. The brain becomes conditioned to constant input. And when there is no input, your internal world suddenly becomes very loud. That's when the overthinking begins, because distraction was suppressing it. A lot of people think they have an overthinking problem. Sometimes they actually have an avoidance problem. Silence forces awareness, and awareness can be uncomfortable, especially if you've spent years outrunning yourself. There's a famous idea from psychologist Carl Jung. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. And honestly, modern life gives us endless ways to avoid ourselves. Endless entertainment, endless productivity, endless stimulation. You can spend your entire life distracted, and many people do. But eventually the nervous system starts sending signals: burnout, anxiety, emotional numbness, irritability, mental fatigue. And one of the strangest symptoms is this constant inability to feel truly rested. You sleep, but you don't recover. You rest, but you don't recharge. Because relaxation is not just physical, it's neurological. You can lie in bed for 10 hours while your nervous system is still in survival mode. That's why mentally exhausted people often say things like, "I'm tired all the time." Not sleepy, tired. Those are not always the same thing. There's another layer to this that almost nobody talks about. Your identity can become attached to stress, especially if you grew up in environments where achievement, hypervigilance, or people-pleasing became survival strategies. Maybe being productive was how you earned approval. Maybe relaxing was seen as laziness. Maybe you had unpredictable parents. Maybe your environment taught you that safety could disappear at any moment. So your brain adapted. It learned, stay alert, keep performing, don't fall behind, always prepare for something. And those patterns can follow people into adulthood without them realizing it. This is why some people feel anxious when they're not being productive, because productivity stopped being a tool. It became emotional protection. And if you remove the productivity, they're suddenly left alone with themselves. That's terrifying for a lot of people, especially high-functioning people, because externally they often look successful, but internally, their nervous system is exhausted. One of the most important books on this topic is The Body Keeps the Score by psychiatrist Bessel van der Kolk. One of the central ideas of the book is that stress and trauma are not just remembered cognitively, they are carried physiologically. The body learns patterns, the nervous system learns patterns, and if stress becomes chronic enough, calm can literally feel unsafe. That's why healing often feels uncomfortable at first, because your brain has to learn that stillness is not danger, and that process takes time. Now here's the part most people don't want to hear. Your brain will not magically return to calm on its own, while you continue overwhelming it every day. You cannot overstimulate your nervous system 14 hours a day and then expect peace at night. The brain adapts to repetition. What you repeatedly do becomes your mental environment. And if your environment is constant urgency, your mind becomes urgency. This is why small habits matter far more than people realize. Sleep, movement, silence, deep focus, social connection, sunlight, physical safety. These things sound simple, but neuroscientifically, they regulate the nervous system. For example, neuroscientist Andrew Huberman frequently discusses how sleep deprivation increases amygdala reactivity and emotional instability, meaning poor sleep literally makes your brain more stress-sensitive. Exercise has also repeatedly been shown to regulate mood, reduce anxiety, and improve stress resilience through multiple neurological pathways. And deep human connection plays a massive role in nervous system regulation. Humans are social organisms. Your brain partially determines safety through other people. That's why loneliness is not just emotionally painful, it's physiologically stressful. But there's one more reason your brain may never let you relax, and this one is existential. A lot of intelligent, self-aware people become trapped in future-based thinking, always optimizing, always analyzing, always preparing. Their brain treats life like a problem to solve instead of an experience to live. And eventually they lose access to the present moment completely. The mind becomes incapable of arrival. And when that happens, life starts feeling emotionally distant. You're technically living, but psychologically, you're always somewhere else. This is why mindfulness practices became so heavily researched in psychology and neuroscience, not because mindfulness is some magical spiritual trick, but because attention determines experience. If your attention is permanently trapped in fear, comparison, future anxiety, and overstimulation, your nervous system never receives the signal that the present moment is safe. And without safety, relaxation cannot happen. Now, obviously, not all chronic stress or inability to relax comes from mindset alone. Sometimes there are real mental health conditions involved: anxiety disorders, trauma, ADHD, depression, burnout. And if your stress feels overwhelming or persistent, professional support matters. But even then, understanding the mechanisms behind your mind changes everything. Because once you realize your brain adapted to stress, you stop interpreting your exhaustion as personal failure. You start seeing it as conditioning. And conditioning can change. Slowly, repeatedly, consistently, not overnight. And maybe the biggest thing to understand is this: you do not heal by forcing yourself to relax. You heal by teaching your nervous system that it no longer has to survive all the time, that safety exists, that rest is allowed, that your worth is not dependent on constant performance. And for some people, that realization changes their entire life, because they finally understand that the voice constantly saying, do more, fix more, improve more, hurry, was never actually peace. It was fear wearing the mask of productivity. So if your brain never lets you relax, maybe it's not because you're lazy. Maybe it's because your mind learned that slowing down feels dangerous. And maybe healing starts when you stop asking, how do I become more productive? And start asking, why does my nervous system believe I'm unsafe when I finally become still? Because that question goes much deeper, and the answer might explain more about your life than you realize. If this video resonated with you, subscribe to Mindscope. This channel is about understanding the hidden systems that shape the human mind, not just how we behave, but why. And maybe once we understand the mind better, we stop fighting ourselves quite so much. Are you still living in the world that taught you to be afraid? Or are you carrying an old survival strategy into a life where you no longer need it? Think about that. I'll see you in the next video.